Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides on political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
Core TV News, expanding your view.
Hello everyone, this is Core TV News of the Hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Top officials of the United States Defense Department, Pentagon, rose from a meeting with the American Senate, taking the position that the Nigerian soldiers are too weak and reluctant to engage terrorists. Testifying before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Pentagon's Principal Director for African Affairs, Alice French, says the U.S. military operations has delayed owing to lack of proper coordination. According to French, some units of Nigerian army are involved in troubling atrocities during operations against Boko Haram. Alice French also says the Nigerian military has the same challenges with corruption like every other institution in Nigeria, and that much of the funding that goes to the Nigerian military is skimmed off the top. The U.S. Air Force Chief of Staff, Mark Welsh, says now Nigerian military is forced to is obviously afraid to engage insurgents. He says Nigeria presents a military force that lacks capacity to rescue the girls, even with foreign support. The size of the Sambisa forest is also believed to make the search for the girls difficult. He says the forest is roughly the size of West Virginia, and local cooperation is essential to get a well-coordinated search. The presidency has denied that President Goodluck Jonathan planned to visit Chibok in Borno State. The spokesman Ruben Abati said in a statement issued at about 1 p.m. local time that no such trip was fixed for yesterday. There were speculations, however, that an unfavorable security report stopped the president from visiting the town where hundreds of schoolgirls were abducted. But Abati insisted that it's not possible to cancel a non-existent trip. He revealed that the president is expected in France for a meeting with Chad, Niger and Cameroon on the best way to deal with the Boko Haram insurgency. And in a related issue, President of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Ayo Risho-Jafo, has called on the federal government to impose full-scale emergency rule in the northeast states of Adamawa, Borno and Yobe, where the activities of Boko Haram Islamic sect have been on the increase. According to him, the federal government has been given the state soft landing with the emergency rule, saying a full military operation without civilians would restore normalcy to the northeast. Speaking to journalists at a special prayer in Abuja for the protection and safe arrival of the over 230 abducted female students of Government Secondary School Chibok, he stated that the existence of the governors of the three states side by side with military operation had not produced the desired result. The Khan president states that the extension of emergency rule in the three states would be justified, insisting that without the military operations, the dreaded sect would have taken over governments in the affected states. He cited the example of Borno State, where prior to the declaration of the emergency rule, insurgents had carved out a greater percentage of the state for their own rule. To effectively prosecute the war on terror, the Nigerian army has been advised to create a special force to tackle insurgency in the country. A retired colonel of the Nigerian military, Adetunji Ajayi, says fighting terrorism requires additional strategies that is beyond weaponry. Oluwaseyi Adegoke has more in this report presented from our studios.
Recently, the fight against insurgency in Nigeria took a worrisome dimension when soldiers attached to the 7th Infantry Division of the Nigerian Army in Maiduguri went on shooting rampage to protest what they term sabotage of their strategies, which is claiming daily casualties. The enraged soldiers went wild when 10 of them lost their lives to insurgents' ambush. They shot at everything in sight, including their general officer commanding. In a similar vein, the United States Director for African Affairs at the U.S. Defense Department, Alice Friend, says its security forces had been slow to adapt with new strategies and new tactics in Nigeria owing to lack of proper coordination. She also says the U.S. was unable to offer immediate aid to Nigeria's military because of troubling atrocities perpetrated by some Nigerian army units during operations against Boko Haram, describing the soldiers as an extremely challenging partner to work with. This retired military colonel believes that a completely new approach should be introduced to fighting terrorism in Nigeria.
It's not that Nigerian military has no capacity to fight this operation, but the point is we need to adopt unusual. By now, we should have had special forces who will be looking for no other person than Shekau and go and grab it.
He admonished Nigerian political class to close ranks to fight insurgency and desist from using terror attack to blame opponents.
I personally believe that the political office holders are paying protection fees to Boko Haram. They are one of the sources of their funding. Otherwise, have you ever had them attack a commissioner? Have you ever had them attack a chairman of a council? Unless that chairman is a concrete fan, anyway. Have you ever had them attack any person of substance? They are paying protection money now. So if the government declares total state of emergency, no money comes to that place, they will come to their knees within 3 months. If no money comes to that place.
The nation continue in the search for permanent solution to the incessant insurgent attacks on Nigeria.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has inaugurated the National Interagency Advisory Committee on Voter Education and Publicity to provide effective strategies for voter education. While inaugurating the committee, INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega says the committee would provide a platform for proper coordination and synergy in enlightening Nigerians on the electoral process. He said there is a need to boost voter education nationwide as the commission prepares for the 2015 general elections. Jega says that voter education is important to considerably reduce, if not completely eliminate, ignorance of electoral matters and process in order to ensure full participation by all qualified citizens. The committee will be headed by INEC Information and Publicity Committee at the national level. We'll take a break now to bring you a couple of messages. We'll be back right after that. Don't go away.
On the day list this morning, Nigerians encourage corruption cites June first of the Punch newspaper. And Nigerian Gardener Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's
says new PDP.
Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The dailies every day on Core TV News.
Nigerians continue to tonight, the city of Lagos
There is still a poor level of
Be the first to know from the north, south, east, west and around Africa. We break the news.
We are one Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news spreads. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core
A
TV News.
24-hour news station.
You're watching Core TV News on the hour. For more information on our news and other programs, visit us on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Core TV News. And you can also follow us on our Twitter handle at Core TV News NG. As well as on YouTube, it's www.youtube.com/Core TV, leave a space, and news. India's triumphant Hindu nationalists declared a new era in the world's biggest democracy after hardline leader Narendra Modi propelled them to a stunning win, promising to revitalize the sickly economy. Preliminary results at the end of the marathon 6-week election showed the Bharatiya Janata Party, led by Prime Ministerial candidate Modi, right on track for the first parliamentary majority by a single party in 30 years. Most of the poverty-wrecked country's 1.2 billion people have never witnessed such dominance, having grown up in an era of fractious coalition politics. Modi wrote on his Twitter handle that India has won and good days are coming. Narendra Modi BJP's victory puts an end to over 60 years of the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty in Indian politics. Away from there now to Colombia, where determined authority, very determined now to rid Colombia of illegal drug trade, authorities in the country have signed a pact with FARC, the country's largest rebel group, to eliminate movements along identified drug routes. The FARC, which controls large patches of rural Colombia, is believed to be partly funded by money generated by the illegal drug trade. This was the third on a 6-point peace agenda being negotiated in Cuba. The civil war in Colombia has killed an estimated 220,000 people in the last 5 decades. Last year, government officials in the left-wing FARC Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia agreed on land reforms and political participation. As with previous agreements, details of the program to combat the drug trade will need to be discussed further by special commissions. Friday's agreement marked the end of the last round of the talks initiated by President Juan Manuel Santos, who is seeking a second mandate in next week's elections. Earlier, the FARC, along with the country's second largest armed group, ELN, said they would observe a unilateral ceasefire for the voting. And that's it for this time on Go TV News on the Hour. Join me again at the top of the hour for more. Stay tuned.